Welcome to Fundamental to Version Control with Git. Part 1. Expected Learning Outcomes. After watching this presentation, first, you will understand the basics of version control. Second, the installation of Git version control software on Windows computers. Lastly, using basic Git commands to manage a set of software code on your local computer. This presentation includes hands-on labs to guide you as we go along. It includes a step-by-step guide to install Git on a Windows computer, and using Git commands to create and maintain a Git repo. A software repository, or repo for short, is a storage location of software packages. Often a table of contents is also stored, along with metadata. So what is version control? Basically, version control is to keep records of all changes to a body of knowledge. A version is simply a snapshot of this body of knowledge. Taking a snapshot does not stop the body of knowledge to evolve. We can take another snapshot in the future when the body of knowledge evolves to another milestone. Why do we need version control? Like everything else, software evolves as our needs or our understanding of the world changes. When something goes wrong, we want to answer the 5W questions to help develop a solution. We also want to safeguard the knowledge that we gain during the development process by saving it in a repo. We want to keep records for future reuse or reference. And last but not least, to maintain a single source of truth. Now you have some basic understanding of version control. And what is Git? Git is an open-source distributed version control software. By distributed, it means every developer can have their own copy of the repository of the software that has the full history of all changes to work on. Then the works for each developer can be merged to become a single piece of work. This way, more than one developer can collaborate on a single project. Lab 0. Installing Git on Windows. Feel free to pause the video when following along. Step 1. Download the installer and execute. Step 2. Pick the options that you want to install or leave the default. You can just leave the default options. Step 3. Pick the default editor. We will rarely need to use an editor within Git, but choose one that you have already installed. We can change it later if you are not sure which one to use. Step 4. Instead of using the default branch name master, override the default branch name to the more inclusive name, main. Most Git users use main as the main branch name. Step 5. Adjusting the path environment. Pick the second option to set the minimal Git wrappers to the path variable and can still use Git bash. Step 6. We will use the bundled SSH. Step 7. We will use the default OpenSSL library. For the rest of the steps, just leave the default options unless you really know what you are doing. After the installation completed, you can optionally view the release notes or open Git bash. You can now open the Start menu and locate a new folder called Git to see all the components installed. You will notice that Git bash, Git cmd and Git GUI are installed on your computer. Congratulations! You have successfully installed Git version control software on your local computer. In this video, you have learned the basics of version control and installation of Git on a Windows computer. In the next video, you will learn the Git commands that will allow you to do basic operation of Git on a local computer. Please continue to watch part 2 of this video on using Git commands to create and maintain a local repo.